Hello, welcome my audience to a new podcast. My name is Andra and I'm going to talk today with Brad Wiens, recruiter at Talent Fusion by Monster. He's a technical and corporate recruiter and aims talent acquisition. Brad, I want to say thank you that you accepted my invitation and welcome to my podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
Is it hot right there where you're living? Here in Switzerland it was quite a hot day.
Yeah, 112 degrees, so it's getting up there.
Okay, I'm glad. First of all, I want to hear about your story. How did you start and how did you get into your current job?
Well, I began in school. I got a degree in psychology, was always fascinated with the way life worked, understanding people and pretty much how to become more happy in life. And so I did get a degree and eventually ended up in a computer programming job.
Oh.
And yeah, it was a couple years. I enjoyed it to a degree, but there was something missing. And I think it was more of the people element. And so I took my computer programming expertise into technical recruiting and never looked back. I've really enjoyed the process of helping people evolve their careers.
Okay, that's quite an interesting combination. Psychology and technical expertise. That's very interesting. Okay, but I want also to ask you, maybe there were also people who have influenced you in your career path. Maybe you want to share something about them or some role models you found very influencing or inspiring to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say probably about 5-6 years ago, came across a man named Greg Plitt, and he's an Army Ranger and a fitness expert. And he inspired me to engage in high intensity training, which essentially transforms your body. I actually lost 91 pounds in about 6 months.
Congratulations.
And I realized that same discipline applies to all aspects of life, including building quality relationships as well as quality careers. So that was, Greg Plitt was definitely a big influence. Also my son, who is a United States Marine, inspired me to become more disciplined in my life and become more well-balanced and to start to really focus on what really matters in life and it's simple.
That's very nice.
And then probably one more person.
Yes.
Would be my wife, who always keeps me honest. She never holds anything back and enables me to continually grow as a person.
Okay. I also agree that positive people influence our life and inspire us to do things, and also learning different skills. You learn in one domain, you can apply to several domains of your life. That's quite fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I want to ask you which lessons you have learned from a current job. Are there things that have marked you?
Mm-hmm. Well, so with Talent Fusion, I joined back in November of 2016 so it's been about 4 years. And I've had 4 different managers. And what I've learned is every manager has a different style. And, for me, I personally like the hands-off style, allow me to operate and then be there if I need you. But what I learned is some managers like to be more hands-on or micromanage. And although that's challenging, I've learned to adapt to their way of managing and to still be successful with them, along with having my preference. fortunately, most of my experience has been with managers that have enabled me to operate and encourage support, but not, micromanage, so to speak. So again, I learned different styles of being managed and what my preference was there. I think another part, Talent Fusion is RPO, which is recruiting process outsourcing. So the company's role is to work with clients throughout the United States, different industries, different skill sets. And so what I learned is to adapt very quickly to what a client's needs are, and then to come up to speed with a strategy to fulfill those needs. And I found that I really enjoyed the variety of opportunities that this RPO has given me over the last 4 years. And then probably the other thing is very honored to be on a team of players that are always there to help. I mean, I realize that, I'm not alone on this journey, in this career. There's plenty of people that are there waiting to help anytime. And then I learned to reciprocate and give back to them, when they may need help. So those are some of the lessons I've learned recently from my job.
That's great. That's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we talked about the lessons, but what do you say would be your overall goals if you look into the future?
Well, one of my aspirations is to create a lucrative career coaching practice.
Okay.
As a recruiter, I think my success hinges on being able to coach a professional into the process of interviewing effectively and then negotiating in the end. And so I definitely would like to create a practice and grow it, helping professionals evolve their careers. Some of the other goals is to maintain that work-life balance. I believe health is number one, mainly because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you don't have a functioning body with good energy, you're not going to be able to succeed as well in your career. So another of my ongoing goals is to maintain vibrant health. And then, again, keeping that work-life balance, always have time for leisure, work hard, but keep everything in balance. I think is very important to the health of your career as well as the health of your body.
Okay, that's very interesting, and I think we should keep in mind to make a balance between work and life, hobbies, and so on, because then we can work on long term, I guess. Okay, then I want to ask you 2 or 3 recommendations for someone who wants to step into your footsteps. I mean, to start to recruit and how to find talented people for a certain position.
Okay. Well, I think number one is to be realistic on the position and skills and compensation. I think it's too often we have an unrealistic idea of what we want and maybe the compensation that will take to get that person. So I think it's very important to be realistic on the market, the demand for talent, and maybe transition into the idea that it's not really the number of years of experience that somebody has, but perhaps the growth that they've had. For example, I've had hiring managers ask about, I want somebody with 10 years experience. And I'll come back and say, well, how about if I find somebody that has 5 years, but they progressed into more advancing roles within that 5 years. In other words, they have a growth mindset. Most time they're very receptive to that. So I think another recommendation is to seek a growth mindset versus a black and white number of years or a certain kind of skill set. Because most people, if they are growth oriented, they can come up to speed on any gaps. And then I think in terms of finding talented people for positions, it's important to be decisive. Very good, talented people have a shelf life. They're not around very long. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to, when you see that kind of person you want, be decisive and, make the decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you for the suggestions. Okay, but now back to you. What do you think is your unique ability that has helped you to become the person you are today?
Well, this goes back to what I was mentioning earlier about high intensity training. Mm-hmm. I got involved in that about 5 years ago. And are you familiar with high intensity training?
Oh, maybe you can define that.
Yeah. Well, what it is, it's kind of taken after the military, but it's the idea that you go in and you exercise intensely for 45 to 50 minutes, different routines, mm-hmm. and different activities, full body. You could have weights, mm-hmm. You could be doing push-ups or running in place. You're completely shocking the body intensely, and every day it's different. Okay. But what I learned is the discipline of paying attention to what the next task was or exercise, and to just keep on keeping on, knowing that if I show up every day, I'll eventually get the benefit of that exercise, but it won't happen overnight. So showing up consistently is something I learned from high intensity training, but also I learned that you need to also improve whatever you're doing, so the exercises, might be a technique of how to exercise more effectively, properly, and so constantly improve every day as well. So those 3 principles guide my life and my career, which is show up consistently, and constantly improve whatever you're doing.
Okay. And how can you do that? Maybe through online courses or different, let's say, learning activities, or how could you train that daily?
How can you train that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As related to
your job, maybe.
Okay. Well, so I think even whatever job you're doing, it's important not to take time off.
Yeah.
Time off, always be prompt, work, show up when you need to, day in, day out, and always to solve the problems in front of you. That's the improvement part.
Okay.
Never get complacent, or you're just going through the motions. There's always some value or something that can be improved. So that's the way I'd approach these principles in the workplace.
Okay, some kind of applied learning, as I see. Okay.
I'm sorry, barely.
Something like applied learning and learning from mistakes and developing this way. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got it. Okay, then we are coming to the end of the interview, and I want to ask you if I forgot to put you a question, or if you like to add an information about you feel is important.
No, I think these questions kind of are well-rounded and pretty much sum up everything well.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is, our listeners, if they want to connect with you, where can they find you online? Do you use certain channels, or do you have a website or something like that?
Yeah, I think probably the best place is on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I could maybe provide you the link
Yes, that's
Email?
good. Yeah, email.
That
Yeah.
might be easier than
Yes, yes.
telling.
I can add that together with the podcast in the description, and people can find you then better.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. Then I say thank you for the interview. It was very interesting to me. I've learned a lot of new things, and I hope also my audience. And thanks for the time you've spent
Thank you.
with me. And I say thank you again.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.